Am I the asshole for slapping my stepmother? Hi guys, this is Little Miss Reddit, and I've got a really interesting story for you today. But don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and leave your comments and opinions below. We read every single one of them. Now let's dive into today's story. Our story was posted by FrenchBoy29, and he says, "First of all, this is my first time writing, so please be kind. I was told by a friend to write and see the people's reaction. I'm 19 and I have an older brother, 23. Around 4 years ago, my father, who's 42, got married to my stepmother, who's 35, after leaving my mother. My mother is French and my father is from America. After 5 months of leaving my mother, my father started to date my stepmother, and a couple months later, they got married. My stepmother has 2 children, a boy, 13, and a daughter, 8. My relationship with my stepmother isn't great, but we agree on some things. The incident happened 5 weeks ago when I was celebrating my 19th birthday. As guests started to arrive and the party started, it was time to blow out the candles. Before I could have done that, my mother came in the country to surprise me. Along with her, she brought a gold bracelet with my name and my horoscope sign engraved on it. My stepsister saw the bracelet and immediately wanted it, but my stepmother told her no, noting she has a habit of wanting and taking things that don't belong to her, and her mother encourages her behavior. I spoke to my father about it, and I even threatened him that I would move to France and live with my mother if it didn't stop. After blowing out the candles, she came up to me and asked for it. I told her no, but I was stupid and left it on the table with the other gifts. Later into the night, I heard my mother shouting. When I went to see what was happening, it was my mother and my stepmother arguing, and behind my stepmother was my stepsister with the bracelet around her hand. A moment later, my father came and tried to clam both of them down, as both me and my mother pointed out that my stepsister took the bracelet, even after I told her no. My father told my stepsister to hand it over, but she threw a tantrum and tried running away. But I grabbed her hand, and pulling the bracelet off in a flash of a second, my stepmother pushed and slapped me for grabbing her daughter. I will admit that when I grabbed her, I did squeeze her tightly. In the heat of the moment, I slapped back at my stepmother as my father yelled at me for hitting my stepmother soon after. Basically, everyone had heard the commotion, while my stepmother cried at the top of her lungs and saying that I slapped her. My stepbrother started to argue, but soon he clammed down after my brother and couple of cousins on my father's side spoke to him. I left the party with my mother and brother, and I spent 2 days at my mother's hotel before she left. When I got back home, my stepmother and her children didn't say a word to me, only throwing hints at me, and my father hardly spoke to me due to me not apologizing. But a week after the incident, I started to get texts and calls from my stepmother's family saying how I'm a horrible person for hitting my stepmother. It got annoying. I complained to my father, but he hasn't said anything to my stepmother to my knowledge, and they started sending photos of me that they edited and wrote "woman beater," which causes me to delete my social media accounts and create different ones. I know hitting women is wrong, and I don't encourage it. But in my point of view, she hit me first, and I got angry. But I'm supposed to apologize to her and get over the entire issue. But what should I do? Am I the asshole here? Fickle Virgo has the first comment. She says, growing up female, rule was if you want to fight a dude, don't expect him not to fight you like a dude. She and her thief kid are out of line, and your dad clearly is an asshole for allowing his, let's face it, mistress now wife, to treat his son like a second-rate citizen in favor of not his children, and allow her to talk shit and lie about what she and her kid did to jump this off. It's his bed. Let him rot in it and move away as fast as possible. Things are only going to get worse for him. No need to go down in his ship with that brood. Good luck. Long Jumping Forever says, I can confirm. I got beat up by a woman for almost 2 years, and I will never let anyone touch me like that without fighting back ever again. It's never okay to hit someone, but it is okay to make sure you never get hit again. Joanna Pine says, exactly. If we're going for equality, slaps from women should be seen the same way as slaps from men, as violent. I hate how we still see women in movies slapping guys to show anger or disappointment. No one should be slapping people, regardless of their gender. Godiva Dark says, I don't disagree. It hurt and stunned her enough that she won't do it again. So a man's fist would be overkill in this instance. A slap was enough. Yes, he has a right to defend himself any way he sees fit. The slap worked. She didn't hit him again. No need bringing a sledgehammer to kill an ant. Our next commenter says, you really should move. Your father is the asshole. He's supposed to protect you from that type of BS, and he failed you. I really feel for you. I had a similar thing happen with my biological father and his new wife and her 2 daughters. I am now not in contact with them at all and very close to my mother's family. Don't take their BS. Do what is best for you and your long-term life. Redbird says, definitely see if you can visit for Christmas and forget to go back to your dad's. His house is no longer a safe place, and you know adults smacking each other isn't a good move. But she swung first, and that is also part of what has me concerned, that she was so comfortable hitting you in front of people when her kiddo is a thief. Be safe. I Need a Username says, hitting women is not wrong. Hitting people is wrong. You're allowed to hit people back and defend yourself when they assault you. Don't let anyone fool you and lead you to believe you have to allow anyone to hit you simply because that person has a vagina. If you had called the police in that moment, she would have been arrested. Let that sink in. All of the posts so far seem to agree that the writer is not the asshole, so I would be remiss not to go digging for some that disagree. Cromulent Point says, there are lots of assholes in this story, and unfortunately, you're one of them. You could have just relaxed and let the little klepto run off with the bracelet. You very likely would have gotten it back with little to no issue because any parent with a brain in their head would find a way to make it right. Instead, you got physical with an 8-year-old girl and escalated it to a family-destroying fight. I feel for you because obviously the whole situation is tough, but your actions added to the chaos. Now, this bracelet that was worth ruining all of these relationships over will now just remind you of the time shit got way out of control, including yourself. Fit Contribution says I had to scroll a long way to find a decent response. Emotions were running high, but it was an 8-year-old child. Yes, she was being a brat, like most children are. However, it did not warrant a 19-year-old man to get physical with her and then turn around and slap his stepmother. Growing up, if I attempted to put my hands on a parent or any other elder, my teeth would have been knocked out. Respect is lacking by all parties involved. Everyone handled the situation wrong and can benefit from therapy. Oh, okay, the ones that disagree strongly disagree. What's your opinion on this matter? Was he okay, first of all, to grab his little stepsister? She was only 8 years old, and he's 19, remember? Was it okay for the stepmother to slap him? Maybe it started with his mom and the stepmom. Should they have been okay having an argument over such a petty thing in the middle of a crowded birthday party? Who's more at the wrong in this situation? But back to the main point. Is our original poster the asshole here? What's your opinion? I can't wait to read them. Let us know in the comments. And until next time, my friends, keep the conversation rolling.